Kia ora and welcome to Friday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news. US policy making has now become so chaotic, businesses are holding off making decisions, and that can only have negative consequences. Firstly, US jobless claims rose modestly last week from the week before, but this was less than seasonal factors would have suggested. There are now 2.23 million people on these benefits and back up near October 2021 levels. The current consensus forecast for tomorrow's release of the February non-farm payrolls report is a rise of 160,000. But there might be some downside, if not in tomorrow's data, in the following set. The level of announced job cuts in February jumped to pandemic levels, and prior to that to GFC levels. The Musk razor gang is getting some of the blame. The January American trade balance of both goods and services came in double the deficit of a year ago, and an all-time record. Tariff policies have driven the change. For the year to January, their total trade deficit was $982 billion US, with a real surge from September to January and blowing it up to 3.4% of US GDP and a record high. Overnight, the US announced delays on tariffs against Mexico. It is a never-ending series of confusing, definite signals, none of which inspire confidence or allow for orderly business decision-making. With Mexico, the situation has turned on its head in just 4 days. With Canada, Trump is ignoring what his Commerce Secretary said just 1 day ago, and US car makers are in a real bind now. US wholesale inventories rose in January, and their inventory to sales ratio rose too, ending a long period of improvement. Folding this data in gives the latest reading of the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now forecast for American first quarter 2025 performance, and it is now a 2.4% decline. Apart from the pandemic, they won't have seen anything quite this dramatic since the GFC. Since its peak in December, the Tesla share price is continuing its fall, and it is only notable today because the value loss now exceeds $660 billion US in that period. In New Zealand dollars, that's $1.15 trillion. That price is down another 5.6% today so far, and filings show Tesla insiders are now selling. Going the other way, Canada's exports and their trade balance came in sharply positive. Exports were up 20% in January from a year ago, and their trade surplus was its best since a brief spike in May 2022, and prior to that, their best ever. Malaysia's central bank held its key interest rate at 3% for the 10th consecutive review during its overnight meeting, and that was in line with market expectations. In China, nothing meaningful or unexpected has come from their National People's Congress meetings. In Europe, the ECB cut its 3 key interest rates by 25 basis points as expected, reducing the main refinancing rate to 2.65%. It was their 6th cut since the peak in September 2023 of 4.5%. Economic growth forecasts were revised down to 0.9% for 2025 and 1.2% for 2026, reflecting weak exports and investment. EU retail sales volumes fell 1.6% in January from the same month a year ago. In Australia, tropical cyclone Alfred has slowed its move towards the Brisbane coast, but it is still generating damage and will do for longer, even if it actually is losing some destructive power now. Tens of thousands of people are without power. Container freight rates fell another 3% last week, from the week before, to be 30% lower than year-ago levels and now only 76% above pre-pandemic levels. Bulk cargo freight rates were up 13% in the week, however they're down 36% from a year ago. Today, the US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.29% and up 1 basis point from yesterday, and the price of gold will start today at just over $2,917 an ounce, and little change from yesterday. Oil prices are down 50 cents, at just under $66 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is just under $69 a barrel. Lower demand expectations are the reason. And the Kiwi dollar is now at 57.5 US cents and up 50 basis points from yesterday. Against the Aussie, we're up 10 basis points at 90.5 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're down another 20 basis points at 53.1 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just over 66.7 and up 10 basis points from yesterday. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $90,265 and up a net 0.3% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been moderate at plus or minus 2.5%. You can find links to the articles mentioned today in our show notes, and you can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again on Monday.